Hello, once again. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists. I'm your host for what promises to be the most liberating, emotionally empowering experience of your entire life. My name is Drew Blood, and what a powerful, a terse, condensed, perhaps the most focused top 10 worst of lists we've ever done. And today's list is, of course, top 10 worst movies if all the actors were made out of potato salad. And what a journey this is going to be. I swear, totally swear on a stack of Bibles, it's going to be, again, the most profound endeavor like you've ever embarked upon, and so totally worth sticking around for. But before we get to that, just a couple of things I feel are important to get out of the way so we can really, sort of cast aside all of our differences and focus on pathways to making long, lasting bonds together here. I think that's part of what's missing in our daily lives that makes everything seem so futile and desperate and depressing as we try our very best to detach from all the things around us, because reality is so painful and there's so many horrible things in our lives that we can't even possibly pay attention to the news or things going on around us or music or movies or television. So, yuck, pee caca. It's like, what's the point of even, getting out of bed in the morning? Anyway, before we get into this list here, just a couple things I would clear up. Just to be honest with you, I'm a total oddball. But the thing is, here's a thing. And it is a thing. Regardless of what anybody tells you, most everybody these days is an oddball. And it's just like that old saying, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but something along the lines of, I'm unique, just like everybody else. What? All right, so anyway, before, I think you'll figure that part out before too long. You'd be like, gee, I wish that guy would have told me that he was such an oddball before I wasted any time on this particular video listing. And number two, I'm not a partisan. I'm not going to play the game anymore. I'm not talking about hate groups. I'm talking about intolerance. I'm talking about people judging others for what they are instead of who they are. I'm totally 100% in love with a little something called the golden rule, okay? Which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I think it's, that's my raison d'etre. That's my, I think that's what I'm going to have them put on my gravestone, quite honestly. I think it's, and I'm not going to cast aspersions of people. And again, I'm not talking about hate groups. Don't be silly here. I'm talking about just, the action of painting entire swaths of people with a broad brushstroke is a pathway to bigotry. Plain and simple. Everybody wants to have good friends they can trust, wants to have a caring, enthusiastic partner in the boudoir, and wants to have, things better for their kids than they had themselves, and, wants to feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves. I mean, we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs here, right? And we all have them. What is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think the first one is survival. I think the next one is like shelter. The next one is hallucinogenics, I think, and then self-actualization. The fifth one is belonging to right proper country club. I think those are the five last. Was it Maslow's or Pavlov's? Pavlov's hierarchy of needs would be kind of cool too. Number 1, food. Number 2, food. Number 3, the bell. Number 4, food. And number 5, food. All right, so anyway, we're making big inroads here. A lot of people get hung up on the whole idea of partisanship and like going like, well, he's not one of us. We shan't be listening to him now. Well, I mean, there's not going to be, who do you think is going to get, I think that everybody is pretty upset about the trajectory of the world and the United States falling from grace and turning into a big POS. It's like, it'd be difficult to at this point, try to figure out the difference between the United States and the dumpsters, a dumpster behind the Outback Steakhouse. And I think that's a shame. I really do. Because I believe in the noble experiment of having a place in this world where everybody can live as one. But, you weren't down. You weren't down. It was more important to you to own and cast aspersions against, to own the libs, to hate the people of color and people doing the sex thing, or somebody who, said the wrong, dead name Elliot Page. Is that what his name is? Elliot, I don't even remember. It's just like, who cares about any of your petty little grievances? The more you try to think about it, the more you realize that the things that we hate each other for are petty. We live in a society that's devoted to, the historical, social traditions of Puritanism. And Puritans were thrown out of Europe. They were outcasts. And they came here to the United States because they got thrown out. Nobody could tolerate living with those anal retentive schmucks anymore. And they're like, be gone. And then they tossed them and found America and stuff like that. And then they made all the United States based on their vision and mores in life. Are you kidding me? What? Who? Puritans are a bunch of a-holes. And if we're going to be dedicated to living our lives based on their viewpoints and outlook on society at large, then we deserve to be, hoist on our own petard, or whatever that phrase is. We deserve what we get in the long run. Okay, it's so important for you to be, intolerant, so of knowledge, and being aware and giving of yourself, and all that kind of stuff. There's a country western song. I think it's Luke Bryan. Is it the one where he goes, oh, a whole lot of chicken fry, cold beer on a Friday night, rubs all of these just right, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio on. Now he's talking about all the things that make America great. Fried chicken, cold beer on a Friday night. Okay. I think, they probably have cold beer on a Friday night in Soviet Union. And maybe not a pair of jeans that fits just right. Okay. That one, whatever. And the radio on. I got a feeling that, when communist China takes us over, which is probably in the next couple of weeks or something like that, that you know what? They'll probably still let us have fried chicken once in a while. Maybe not, it might not be on as many menus and stuff like that, but you still be able to find some good fried chicken. You kidding me? That's what, that's what you love the most about America? Cold beer on a Friday night. Well, yeah. I mean, they're not going to outlaw beer. They're going to want you drunk, fat, and stupid. So fried foods and beer, probably going to get it. Pair of jeans that fits just right. Well, I don't know. It'll probably get you something. I mean, they probably make a lot of that stuff in China already. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? And the radio, they'll have radio. I mean, music in the United States absolutely sucks. It's the absolute worst. It's filled to the gills with product placement, mostly like listening to an infomercial, a 3-minute long infomercial, and the stars, these artificially imposed mouth-breathing brainstems, sellouts, garbage, kids of rich people, and eye candy, and probably lip syncing, probably have nothing to do with the music that they are associated with. They probably have a team. This is the one that I pick up on other editions of this all the time, is Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday 2 album. It's got, I think, somewhere along the lines of 42 different named producers. You 42 producers for 10, 12 tracks or whatever the hell it is of absolutely, completely disposable garbage music that is forgotten within hours of having heard it. And it takes 42 producers to make that. And think about it. Again, this is one I use all the time, so I apologize if you've heard this argument out of me before, but Sgt. Pepper, an album that, 60 years later is still looked upon as one of the crowning achievements of creative music in pop culture history, was produced by one guy and engineered by one guy, and then, the four musicians, the Beatles and some other local orchestra guys and stuff to round out the thing, and Indian musicians and such, that they use the studio session guys. And that's it, So you have the musicians on the album and two guys. That's 42 guys for trite, malicious, anti-human plastic. So you can, you think you're going to do worse under, communist China for the Luke Bryan or wherever the hell did that song? Oh my God, where'd I go? Yeah, well, good luck with that. I'm just really sweating it out that you're going to have to live with music that is, underneath this. And country western music is like, obviously has sort of some glaring omissions in their panoply of perspectives that they provide to their fans. Racism. Excuse me. And so I don't think that anybody's going to really and then you got, who's that guy who's married to Nicole Kidman? That guy really bugs the hell out of me. He's some guy, he's like from Australia, and he sings in a U.S. Southern drawl, the Southern accent. Like we're all supposed to believe that guy is like Southern. And all the music, I've listened to some country music, not, super recently, but in the last few years or whatever. And, because I like the idea that there's still real musicians playing on it. Now, they might be just studio guys and stuff. It might not necessarily be, up to the sort of idiosyncratic depth that you'd get from, some, like a Zeppelin or something, where you can listen through just to hear Bonham or what, John Paul Jones is doing on any particular song. You listen to it, that for those types of little creative flourishes, but you still have real musicians playing music as opposed to all other music styles, which are all computerized and spit out. But country's got the most product placement, I think, out of everything that I've heard. Hip hop would be a close second, but in country music, within the first verse, you'll get very distinctive product placements, shout outs, and stuff. So, I mean, music might be better. You can get rid of that, what is that, Randy Newman or whatever, that Nicole Kidman's husband, Keith Urban? No, is it? And maybe not quite as many product placements and lyrics. So, Luke Bryant be damned. Where was I? Oh, something about partisanship. Yeah, so we're all getting screwed over by this whole thing. It's just teaching us how to hate. And then they're subdividing the groups now, so the mainstream right, Reagan Republicans, are hated by the MAGA, alt-right, and the Tea Party's in there somewhere, hating everybody, I think. And so it's subdivided to the point where, nobody can get on the same page. And the right basically owns everything in our culture, from cultural mechanisms like movies and television are all owned by ultra right wingers, especially now that Larry Ellison's bought a third of all media and publishing and everything in the last couple of hours. And then you also get like all the politicians. I mean, you obviously have the Supreme Court is nothing more than a completely useless a band of yes men who are focused on delivering the goods for the billionaire class, and all three divisions of government really are ultra right wingers, and doing everything they can to keep a hold of power, regardless of the fact that nobody has any real representation. And then the Democrats are just sort of sellouts to the same bunch of jagoffs, right? I mean, I don't know if you've seen it in your neck of the woods, but in Chicago, where I'm from, it's like the elite Democrats are working directly for the billionaires. They sold out all the parking meters for pennies on the dollar to a shady LLC group of billionaires, and parking lots and toll bridges and stuff like that. And they're building up concrete barriers so nobody can park in front of small businesses and venues and such. And on and on and on. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense unless it's explained by the fact that they're actually totally down with the agenda of the ruling elite, and there is no representation for the working class. And don't get me started on the media, be it news media or cultural apparatuses and everything like that, and how little that they will allow anybody through the gatekeepers who has, a lick of common decency or common sense, or, speaks to, working class needs or advances, unique and diverse perspectives. All that just doesn't exist anymore. And there's no institutions, one after the other, of ultra-right wing, like heritage foundations and stuff like that, who are gaining all kinds of traction. You got absolutely nothing that will represent the working class, the blue-collar types. And that's... and then we're so busy fighting and so busy pointing fingers at each other and so busy being bombarded by this, fairy tale that they keep pushing us in the mainstream media, that we don't have any ability to be able to crawl out from underneath the boot heel of these crypto Nazis. Don't you call me a crypto Nazi, or I'll blouse you from head to toe and you'll stay bloused. Who's that from? What kind of, anybody out there figure out what that was a reference to? All right. Well, anyway, I've talked to you off enough. Before we get into it, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that the idea that the top 10 lists are not on the level, but they are totally on the level. And these lists are put together by me with the help of former Civil War recreationists who gathered together with me outside of Arlington National Cemetery and take copious doses of pet dander mixed with baking soda. And we come up with these lists. It's totally on the level. Also, before we get into it, I just have to, take care of a little business. I got some sponsors here that, underwriting our efforts here to try to make this top 10 worst of list the best in worst of lists. Coming soon to a major motion picture, Coke Ebola. Ebola's back, baby. Snap into taste refresher. Taste the wave. How's it? What's it? Taste the flavor wave. It's Coke Ebola. And from the producers of Soul Train, it's Trained Soul. The TV dance show that indoctrinates you with superfluous, infantile fluff disguised as music. It's Trained Soul. And from Alfred Hitchcock Jr., it's a tribute to his father's movie, Strangers on a Train. It's Strangers on a Jungle Cruise, where two disgruntled men meet on the Jungle Cruise ride in Disneyland and decide to do a crisscross doohickey. It's Strangers on a Jungle Cruise. All right, so let's get to it. Now, today's list is actually, I think we're going to breeze through this and nothing flat. I have not given it a second thought since I created this list, and this list is it's just stupid, really. There's no two ways about it. I got to be honest with you. I am disappointed in myself. I think I can do better. But hey, what the hell? We're all here. Why don't we go on with it? So there's the top 10 worst movies if the actors were all made out of potato salad. Number 10, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Potato Salad. Number 9, Ace Ventura, Potato Salad Detective. Number 8, Close Encounters of the Potato Salad Kind. Number 7, Scott Pilgrim Saves the Potato Salad. Number 6, Potato Salad Spaghetti. Potato Salad Tron Legacy. Number 5, Terminator 3, Rise of the Potato Salad. Number 4, Potato Salad The Usual Suspects. Number 3, Potato Salad The Apple Dumpling Gang. Number 2, the top 10 worst of movies if all the actors are made out of potato salad. Willy Wonka and the Potato Salad Factory. No, because we've been breezing through this pretty fast. I don't want you to feel like you didn't get your money's worth. Just to toggle back, I got to remind everybody about my antipathy for the movie The Usual Suspects. Now, there's 2 movies. I have so many rants about movies. It's almost, it borders on the infinite. Now, I also have to tell you that I don't believe in infinity. I don't believe infinity exists. Number 1, let's take a look at the things that we refer to in real life as being infinite. Number 1, the universe. The universe is not infinite, okay? I'm tired of telling you about how the universe cannot possibly be infinite. Let's think about it like this. Let's take it one step at a time. First of all, you've got the Big Bang Theory, where the universe was created from some Big Bang, okay? Well, it seems weird to a lot of us. It's not necessarily, does not compute. But, hey, whatever. It's all we've got to go with. But part of those theories and relativity, and I don't know what the hell else is going into it. I don't necessarily have the cognitive brain power to keep up with those guys. However, I do know some of the broad brushstrokes, and they include the idea that the universe is ever expanding. So if the universe is ever expanding, follow me here, this is where it gets a little tricky. How could it be infinite? Because what is it expanding into? Now, And think about it like this. You've got a pitcher of water, right? A pitcher, it's plain water, whatever. And then you got a glass, right? And you get the water and you pour it into the glass and the water takes the shape of the glass, right? But if you pour it out of the glass, it's just going to spread all over the place like forever. But you're not pouring it onto nothing. You're not pouring it into something like this. It cannot be the sum of its volume because it's spreading out beyond its volume. It's growing on an ongoing basis. But if it's infinite, how can it grow? How can it get bigger? If it's already infinite beyond everything and just already is beyond, it's just nonstop, then it can't grow into something. It's like if you cut the cheese in an elevator, right? And let's say that it's a pretty big elevator, all right? But it's a real eye waterer. And, the first couple of people around you are like starting to rub their eyes and cough, like little like that and stuff. And then before you know it, a little bit longer, it'll spread out, and then just everybody in the whole damn elevator is coughing at some point and wiping their eyes with their handkerchiefs, with their, what do they call it now, pocket squares. But the cloud of vapor, of methane vapor, is expanding and expanding. Now think of the universe as being the cloud of methane from the cheeser that you cut in the goddamn elevator. So you can picture growing it. It's growing into the elevator throughout the cubic volume of the elevator. Now, of course, this is a totally different concept that we haven't the capacity to be able to rationalize because it's beyond our comprehension, right? But the universe is like a fart expanding into the vastness of a large elevator and working its way into people's eyes and nose and mouth. So how can the universe be infinite? It can't be, because if it was infinite, it couldn't be expanding, because it'd already be infinite. So there, I don't know if anybody, like I tried to explain this to somebody once, and they're just like, huh? And the infinite, if you imagine the infinite, you can imagine, like I'm sure that a lot of the, Bible thumpers out there are going to be like, God is infinite. Well, our comprehension cannot possibly be infinite because we die. So our comprehension of something that's, if you want to start counting, you count for the rest of your life. At some point, it cannot be infinite because at some point your brain dies. So you got to stop counting. It's the same thing with conceptualizing anything infinite within your mind. Well, you can go into these possibilities or anything like that. Your brain can come up with all kinds of different combinations of stuff. You get to the point that you die, all that stops. So it's finite. It's very, very finite, in fact. How could you even bring something up like that? Get out of here with that weak sauce. And so that brings me to the usual suspects. So you got usual suspects, right? And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to kill everybody. In order to be able to protect the Kaiser Soze's real identity so nobody can ever recognize him and go underground for the rest of his life and never come out and stuff like that. And he gets the guy who's the one person who can bear witness to who Kaiser Soze really is. But in the process of it, also is sitting in a police station for almost like an entire day, surrounded by 100 cops who now know exactly what Kaiser Soze, who he looks like, what he looks like, probably had him fingerprinted, mugshots, everything. It's so dumb. So dumb. And it's like everybody thinks, one of the most intelligent movies in the history of intelligent movies. And the other one was Planet of the Apes. I've harped on this a bunch of times. I apologize to those of you who might have been put through this rigmarole before, but hey, what the heck? It probably is no more boring than it was the first time I talked about it. Planet of the Apes, of course, they show up and they see the apes talking, and it's like, everything like that. And at the end of the movie, he finds the Statue of Liberty and he realizes it's planet Earth, and he's like, damn you old hell, and all that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, the first time he heard any of the apes talk, and they're talking in English, he should have been able to figure out, like, do people think that English is like the universal language just because, we speak it in the United States and stuff, and that Transformers speak it, and they come from, Megatroid? Whatever it is, the planet that Transformers come from. And Transformers is another one, and I talk about this one all the time, but again, not any more boring than it was the first time I said it. Transformers coming from outer space, they come in from outer space and they invade planet Earth or whatever to have some battle for some reason or another. These outer space gigantic robots decided to duke it out on planet Earth for control of their world and society. Who the hell knows? It's so dumb. That we're already in like dumb territory. I mean, it's just profoundly stupid, but a great opportunity to sell a lot of merchandise. But more importantly, the two things that Transformers can be, what they transform, the whole reason for them being, the whole name and all that kind of stuff of being called Transformers, because they can transform from a giant robot into what? A 1980s American muscle car. Wow, how did they know about American muscle cars way out there on planet Murgatroyd or whatever, in the middle of space, 1,000 light years away from us? And they know that the two things that they were designed to be is a robot and a Camaro or something. It's just so infinitely stupid, and we're just like, give me more. I need more. Megan Fox. Hi, Megan Fox. This Transformers so great. All right, so anyway, let's get on with it. Let's finish this thing up. We'll just got to run out. So, time and patience for anybody out there. I said, top 10 worst of, number one of the top 10 worst of movies of all the actors were made out of potato salad. Potato Salad, Godfather 2. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. What's it supposed to be the worst? Wait a minute. The worst movies of all the worst movie if all the actors are made out of potato salad. Potato Salad, Godfather 2. Potato Salad, Vito Corleone. In the early days, back out in the old country. And how those movies, how great was it? Join me in reverence for these movies. Did John Coltrane, by the way, the director of The Godfather, how much do you think that he got, instructed by Paramount and Robert Evans, to make sure that he glorified criminality in those movies? Because really, all the Godfather movies they're propaganda movies. They're not made for entertainment. They're made to glorify the mob, because the mob has no other way of recruiting people other than, what is it, mob? Do you think the mob's got like a monster.com or something like that? They can post jobs. The mob needs a couple of hitters to paint some houses so that they can, have this so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. They can't do that. The only way that they can sort of recruit is to make it look and seem super cool to a widespread audience, and people be like, wow, that, that looks really cool. I could probably do something like that, and so on and so forth. And then they get, they find a way, slumming around or whatever it is, and they make it known that they would like to be drug dealers and murderers and thieves and hurt people and bludgeon people, children's fathers, and whatever it takes. And so, that's why those movies were made. It has nothing to do with entertainment. Nothing. Anyway, So, I mean, at least Coppola's not quite as bad as Scorsese, right? Am I right? Scorsese? Um, it's Martin Scorsese. What's you not having any people of color in any of your movies? Yeah, I know you did that one after Hollywood said that you had to have people of color in your movies to win any awards, and your movie studio probably made you do that one movie recently with a couple of people of color in there, just to to make sure that you were available for nominations and award season to beef up your lousy resume. What a pig! Martin Scorsese is like one of the most disturbing, messed up, foul individuals that he's puts Leni Riefenstahl to shame. His relentless glorification of violence and mobs and white people is just pathetic and embarrassing, and it makes me embarrassed to be an American. I think Martin Scorsese should be put in Leavenworth for all of the crimes and criminality that he's been inspiration for. And what a sick human being. I hate frickin' Martin Scorsese and everything he stands for. What a pig. Anyway, that's all the time we've got for Top 10 Worst of Lists here on the Something Show, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is anymore. I was so glad to be able to, what happened to, oh my God, it's so incredibly powerful. Wow. There we go. That's better. And again, it's such a pleasure to be able to be here and go on this journey with you together. But everything I've said here, there's just opinions, okay? If you get freaked out and whatever, and you want to, cast aspersions against me, or what are the guys when they call you out, when they put me on blast, just to remind you that, I'm just tossing a bunch of stuff out there, because I'm, a washout. It's pretty obvious that, even by looking at me, what an incredibly underwhelming visage that I must present to people, but it's all I got left. It's like I'm on fumes. And I've done everything I can, 30 years worth of sacrificing myself to try to make the world a better place. And this is what I get for my troubles. Coming out looking like this, where everybody thinks I'm crazy and probably wants to cast aspersions against me and put me on blast. You think that's fun? But these are tough questions that we need to be answered. So take a hard look at who we really are. This is the end times for not just the United States, perhaps for the human race. In general, and it might not sound like about some of these things, but everything that I've loved in life is, all kind of started in the United States. The people that I've loved, the music and other stuff, movies and whatnot. There's a lot of things that, are fairly decent and tolerable through the United States, but it's been demented. It's been compromised at a level that I'm not sure that we see any way out of to rise above our earthly burdens. And so I'm here, calling you all out, calling you to arms. Draw a line in the sand or something. Do something. For Christ's sakes, y'all know it's bad. It's just super easy to get it fixed. And it's all tied up with the golden rule. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. If you were in trouble, would you want somebody to help you out, to give you a hand, to boost your spirits, to loan you, $100 till payday? Yeah. So the United States needs $100 to tide them over till payday. It needs a hand up. We're all, brothers and sisters, whether you want to do it in a political sense of it, by just calling it the United States, or you want to just think about the human race, as we're confronted by the AI. And these robber barons who would like nothing more than to extinguish the human race and just go full-time AI robots. They can go to Mars and, beyond, and they don't need to worry about paying them anything. It's the perfect slave race for them, you know. The only reason they kept us around this long is because they're parasites who're sucking all the life out of us while we do all the work, and they, you know, gouge us for everything and suck us dry. All right. All right, so that's all the time I got for us. It's what a pleasure it's been. Can't wait to do it again. So, click on that like button, you freaking freak. And we'll catch you on the flim flam.